Welcome to Hero Villains. Thank you for always watching and supporting the channel. Who do you think would win in a fight between Knull and Thanos? Thanos, the Lord of Titan, possesses superior strategic intelligence and superhuman strength. He has defeated cosmic entities alone, manipulated death, and possessed the Infinity Gauntlet, a weapon that can change the structure of reality. Not only is he an unparalleled warrior, Thanos is also a master manipulator of psychology, able to turn his enemies into pawns on his chessboard. Knull, meanwhile, is the embodiment of pure darkness, a god who existed before the universe, the creator of the symbiote race and the all-black sword. He controls a giant wave of symbiotes like a black tide that engulfs planets. Knull can manipulate darkness, kill divine entities, and even defeat celestials. His power is both ancient and nightmarish, beyond all physical boundaries. Before we dive into the analysis, please hit the subscribe button and remember to turn on notifications by clicking the bell icon. Thank you very much. Thanos was born from two powerful Eternals, one from Titan and one from Earth. However, the unusual combination of genes caused him to have the deviant mutation, creating a giant figure, purple-gray skin and eyes as dark as an endless abyss. From a young age, he showed outstanding differences in intelligence and physical strength. However, instead of developing in an empathetic direction, Thanos' soul slid into darkness as he gradually became obsessed with the entity representing death, a distorted love and an obsession that could not be saved. As an adult, Thanos began a series of journeys to spread terror across the stars. Initially, he killed animals to satisfy his instincts, then gradually turned to destroying sentient beings as a ritual offering to his void lover. But unlike blind destroyers, Thanos possessed a superior intelligence, a cold and terrifying strategic mind. He actively transforms himself through biotechnology. On that body, every muscle fiber, every energy circuit is optimized with advanced technology beyond the understanding of most of the universe. Each upgrade not only gives Thanos terrible physical strength, but also grants him superhuman endurance, unimaginable recovery speed, and the ability to manipulate energy on a planetary scale. He can fight on par with gods, break the laws of physics, and crush entire armies with just a wave of his hand. Thanos is also a genius scientist, an experimenter on fallen civilizations, always looking for new limits to overcome. He possesses a physique that far exceeds all standards of ordinary people, with enough strength to crush giant rocks with just a squeeze of his hand. In direct confrontations, Thanos always shows dominance, even easily controlling opponents famous for their strength, such as Hulk or Thor. His arm strength is enough to lift massive structures, even shaking the very ground beneath his feet. The most powerful attacks from others leave only scratches on his steel skin, a nearly impenetrable natural armor, resistant to radiation, divine fire, and celestial weapon. Thanos' body has been tempered not only by his innate strength, but also by countless wars spanning centuries. His combat experience comes not just from training, but from the brutal practice of thousands of battles fought on the most remote battlefields in the universe. Thanos also has the ability to manipulate energy on a sophisticated level. He can fire blasts of pure energy that can incinerate entire armies, create impenetrable force fields, or compress energy into physical attacks that feel as heavy as a meteor's fall. Thanos' fighting intelligence and energy capabilities have made him an ultimate threat not only to superheroes, but to the entire balance of the universe. He does not need a godly weapon to instill fear. He himself, with every step, every glance, is enough to make the entire galaxy tremble. Thanos does not need the power of the Infinity Stones to become a cosmic threat. Even when fighting with his bare hands, he is still a mighty warrior. The battles he participates in always carry the mark of cold calculation and power, showing the ability to grasp the situation and react quickly to a frightening degree. I still clearly remember the moment when Thor summoned lightning and Tony directed that energy through his armor to hit Thanos straight. But instead of being overwhelmed, Thanos spun his twin blades at lightning speed, cutting through the lightning and completely deflecting the combo he had just executed. Every move he made felt as if it had been planned in advance. When Captain Marvel suddenly seized the Infinity Gauntlet and tried to escape his grasp, Thanos did not rush to pursue. Instead, he backed away, looked around, identified his target, and threw his sword straight at the quantum truck the Avengers were planning to use to transport the gauntlet. His actions reflected not only his ability to improvise, but also his sharp strategic thinking. he defeated the Hulk in a fight that lasted no more than 10 seconds, completely overwhelming and neutralizing the rage of an otherwise invincible monster. He lifted Loki off the ground and finished him off with his bare hands, without a moment's hesitation. None of them could have stopped Thanos alone. It says everything about his superiority that he can stand in the middle of a battlefield, brush aside legendary names, and still move forward as if he were walking through harmless dust. In the Battle of Wakanda, he walked up to Vision, who held the Mind Stone, and without hesitation, crushed Vision's forehead with his hand and pulled the stone out coldly and gently, as if he were taking an object from a child's hands. Even Bruce Banner, in his Smart Hulk form, with his superior intelligence and enormous strength, almost lost his life trying to use the Infinity Gauntlet. But for Thanos, this happened naturally. He not only activated all the energy systems in the stones, but also used them simultaneously with near absolute precision. The Thanos we witnessed in Endgame was not a fugitive or a fallen one. He was a warrior at his peak, the supreme leader of a warring empire that spanned the planets. Eradicate civilization with a cold nod. Thanos possesses the toughness and violent attack power of Cull Obsidian, the proficiency in using sharp weapons and tactics like Corvus Glaive, the flexibility and precision of Proxima Midnight. Not stopping there, he also applies the method of controlling objects and reading combat situations with a strong, sophisticated will like Ebony Maw. He is the optimal synthesis of all the most terrifying things from the Black Order. They blend, accumulate, and operate inside Thanos like a complete war machine, possessing both strategic intelligence, destructive power, and the ability to master ancient energy sources that few are capable of touching. But if Thanos were just an incredibly powerful warrior who could punch, fight, and survive longer than any opponent in the galaxy, he would still falter when faced with Iron Man, Thor, and Captain America all at once, or the many other dangerous warriors he faced who seemed capable of killing him. It was Thanos' inevitable mindset that got him through. He just knew he was going to win. By Endgame, he had even seen it coming. Meanwhile, all the Avengers knew they could lose. That was terrifying. He believed, deep in his purple bones, that he would win and restore balance to the universe, because that was his destiny. So when he finally lost, his face was filled with shock. He couldn't comprehend what had just happened. In the end, Thanos wasn't inevitable. He is still extremely powerful even without the Infinity Gauntlet, enough to spread terror across the battlefield until Iron Man ends the conflict forever. I really hope you subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot, and you are the best. Thank you very much. Knull is no ordinary name in this vast universe. He is an ancient god, appearing from the primordial chaos, where there was no light, no life, only eternal darkness covering everything. When the first light was awakened by the Celestials, Knull arose in anger, seeing the light as an insult to the pure nature of darkness. From the deepest abyss of nothingness, he created forces that the universe itself trembled in fear. With the icy hand of the endless night, Knull gave birth to the symbiote race, a force as black and flexible as living darkness, capable of clinging to other living beings to increase their power and transform their nature. But that was only the tip of the horror he brought. From the deeper depths of the void, Knull also created Exelon, entities like dark smoke, capable of invading the soul and stripping away the free will of anyone. Even names like Mr. E, Shadow Man, and Ka are said to be the product of the branches of power that Knull has sown in the darkness, each a reflection of that primal will rooted in different planes of darkness. However, his greatest dark chaos is none other than All Black the Necro Sword, a weapon forged from the pure darkness and fury of Knull's soul. The sword is not only capable of cutting through all matter, but also contains the power of a storm of destruction, used to strike down gods. Each time the blade is swung, the whole space seems to quiet down for a moment, and darkness spreads like a black tide that engulfs the sky. He is the cold doom itself, the source of the ancient fear that still smolders in the darkest corners of the universe, where light cannot reach. Knull wields control over one of the dark forces of the living abyss. This substance, known by various names such as pure darkness, anti-life energy, or necro power, is more than just a black liquid. The living abyss is inherently anti-creative and exists to resist all attempts to sustain life. The living abyss is a living, sentient black tide that can devour light, suffocate souls, and destroy the very essence of existence. It is tied to Oblivion, an ancient entity that embodies the absolute void, the silence before the multiverse, and the last remnant between the cycles of rebirth of every universe ever created. Knull uses the living abyss as an extension of his will, spreading across the galaxy, forming countless symbiotic entities and weapons from the matter as black as condensed night mist. He created a mental network where every symbiote belonged to a giant hive, transcending the boundaries of space and time. After Eddie Brock was enhanced by the Enigma Force and defeated Knull in a decisive battle, Knull's physical body was destroyed. However, that did not mean his death. Eddie, in a state of complete connection to the hive, was able to sense Knull's presence. In every cold and dark corner of the galaxy, in every grain of space dust, in the black shadows between the stars, Knull still whispered, still watched, still waited for the moment to return. Donny Cates once confirmed that although Knull's physical body had been destroyed, his will continued to exist in the symbiote hive as an undying terror. Unlike the concept of linear time travel, the hive functions as a mental labyrinth where past, present, and future landmarks can overlap. Knull is still stronger than the Celestials. Knull can kill most Celestials and destroy almost every Celestial with his sword. And as mentioned above, Knull existed before the universe, meaning he is an immortal. Knull clearly has no life or death, because he was not even born. An immortal has no soul. Yes, Knull has no soul either. Knull is an entity of immense power and poses a threat to all of time and space. After escaping from Clintar, Knull did not return to the silence he was accustomed to. On his journey back to Earth, he left a trail of destruction on a series of planets where brilliant civilizations once existed. One of them was the planet Fallow, where a species of intelligent birds once lived in silver forests. In just a moment, the entire planet was engulfed in a sea of black fire, swallowed by the wave of darkness that Knull carried like a cloak of death over the universe. Knull needed no reason to sow carnage. He exists as the absolute antithesis of light and life, and his every action is a natural outgrowth of a twisted cosmic law. His presence sends terror rippling from the atmosphere to the core of the planets. His power is not confined to himself, but is also transmitted through the other dark entities he has created. One of these is the colossal dark dragon, the symbol of carnage known as Grendel. This dragon alone has wrought the deaths of over 2 billion people, a figure that represents only a fraction of the true devastation. And all this at the hands of one of the entities Knull has empowered. Brutal yet calculating, Knull does not just kill. He captures, he subdues. He enslaves beings once revered as gods. Among those he subdued were Erisham, Xeron, and Jemaya, ancient celestials imbued with the power of the primordial. Isan, one of the most powerful celestials, was slain. And what made it all the more terrifying was how he did it. Without preparation, without armor, without forged weapons, Knull, newly awakened, wielding the crude all-black, born of primordial darkness, swung his sword and the celestial fell. No warning, no chance to fight back. Only after finishing Isan did Knull forge the sword, not for battle, but to usher in a new dark age. He was also able to defeat and enslave many Celestials. Knull was also said to have been his first enemy, the Celestials, and it seemed he had solved the problem. Knull has proven to be capable of defeating the Celestial Fourth Host, which is said to be on par with their insane counterparts. As seen above, it takes something incredibly powerful to defeat Knull. In the final battle, Venom was enhanced by the Enigma Force and defeated him with the Enigma Force as well, so Knull lost not because he was burned by the sun, but by the Enigma Force. This is for anyone who underestimated Knull by saying that Knull died from being burned by the sun, which is wrong. If you don't believe me, then read above that Knull can survive the heat of the sun. Additionally, when Venom defeated Knull, he wielded Mjolnir Thor and Mjolnir blessed by Odin. Surfboard, Silver Surfer and Surfboard blessed by Galactus became an extremely powerful act. It would take something extremely powerful. Enigma Force plus Mjolnir from Thor, Mjolnir blessed by Odin plus Surfboard from Silver Surfer. We know Surfboard blessed by Galactus to defeat Knull. Knull has faced the abstract entities of the universe and actually won. Knull has extended his darkness to the highest levels of the cosmic system, where concepts like time, death, and order exist as powerful entities. In a direct comparison, unless Thanos was empowered by the heart of the universe or the Infinity Gauntlet with all 6 stones, he would have a hard time standing against Knull's power. The difference is not in tactics, but in nature. Knull possesses the ability to summon darkness on a massive scale, capable of engulfing entire planets in a single breath. He views the Celestials as insignificant tools, nothing more than lost chess pieces on the chessboard of a god without light. Knull easily defeated a Celestial, beheading him with a single swing of his sword, leaving no chance to fight back. His physical strength, combined with his energy powers from the living abyss, make him one of the most dangerous warriors. Like Galactus, Knull is not invincible. In rare cases, when multiple Celestials attack together, his power begins to disperse. Pressure from multiple directions, combined with the special energy sources that the Celestials deploy, has forced Knull to retreat. That event became one of the few times that the darkness retreated before the collective light. Knull's power far exceeds anything Thanos has ever reached. Although Thanos possesses a superior intellect, a brilliant strategy, and a tenacious warrior that even the gods fear, when compared to Knull, who was born from the primordial darkness, the difference becomes all too clear. Make no mistake, Thanos has always been a compelling figure, with a poise and steely determination that have made him a symbol of orderly destruction. But Knull is something else entirely. He does not fight for philosophical reasons, does not seek balance, but simply destroys everything that touches life and light. If Gorr the God Butcher is the haunting of the gods, then Knull is a waking nightmare, a pure embodiment of hatred, forged over billions of years in the eternal void. In his darkest hours, even armies from the realms of light, armed with weapons that have never been named, can only temporarily push him back from the realm of reality, but cannot completely destroy him. Thanos is, in every respect, a born strategist, an iron-willed conqueror. Though unbeatable on the battlefield, he is driven by endless rage and an instinct for destruction. Thanos could exploit that weakness, turning hatred into a trap, thereby creating a slim chance to buy time or distract his opponent. However, that would not be a victory, but only a temporary form of survival. Thanos is an immortal being, perhaps the most powerful immortal being ever, but he is still a part of humanity, and is essentially a living, breathing being with bones, flesh, and soul. As an immortal being, he should never age, or at least die of old age. But he is not immortal in the sense that he can die. Knull existed in the primeval time before the Celestials seeded life into the universe. He claims that the void is his home and abode. Thanos is just an abandoned child with a sick taste for pain and death. This reminds me of Bane in Dark Knight Rises when he told Batman that he simply took in the darkness, but Knull was molded by it, created by it. He never saw the light until he was a full-fledged god, and then it was nothing but a glare. The light and the disturbance were the Celestials, and Knull beheaded one of them and used it to create the symbiote race. Thanos would never have had the power he had without something like IG or the Cosmic Cube. Knull is the winner. Hope you enjoyed this fight. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Follow me if you like. That's it for today's video. Thank you so much.